thought this would be great to just do like they did in the first church. When they brought the scroll, the scroll, and they all sat there and they listened to the word, and that had to do it. Can you imagine that for a lot of them that they didn't have? They had some people, the scribes, that reproduce it so they could have more, because writing was the thing. Just like now, we tell people all the time that because writing was the thing, everybody wrote. There was a lot of people that wrote, but God designed what was considered the scriptures, the holy book. And he put that together from all across the time, all the way, from the beginning of time all the way until to John. So, I mean, it's, but that's, you imagine just being able to, for most people hearing it, that was it. They hear it, maybe some people had a chance to write it down after they heard it 20 times. But can you imagine that being a big integral part of your study? We have so many avenues now of how we can do it. And but they just mostly had hearing and hearing that person read that, and that's how they did it. So we're going to do that in Proverbs. I'll have my wife read a little, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll go on to the next. So we can start out in Proverbs chapter 3, and let's see, we can read to, the first verse, read that all the way down to the to 6.
Mm-hmm. Okay. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths.
This is pretty good. And what I like about where we are as far as right now, just even the start of this verse here, with trusting the Lord with all your heart, we're learning more and more about the wisdom of God. And when you start to really look at this, and the more and more that you pour yourself into what God has given us, you understand that it's more than just, it's the wisdom of knowing. It's truly an understanding. And it goes beyond just getting the knowledge. It goes beyond just trying to hoard it all in and see how much you know and see how much that we can repeat. It's really, truly an understanding. Read the 7 all the way down to the 12th verse.
Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. Is it a 12?
Yeah, it's a 12.
My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, or be weary of his reproof. For the Lord reproves him whom he loves, as a father the son in whom he delights.
Again, wisdom is more than knowing. It is an understanding. It is an understanding that God does not lie. What he said is going to happen, it's going to come to pass. So with wisdom, we learn so much about the understanding of it all. It's truly amazing when we can ask for it. Remember what James said in chapter 1, if you don't have that, if you're lacking that, ask for it. Ask for it, not for your own selfish gain, but ask for it, and he gives it to you freely. I mean, it's an understanding. When you look at wisdom, it's an understanding that my Father gives. He gives me everything. He bountifully gives me so many things, but he also corrects me. It's an understanding. It's a maturity. In fact, this is not an immature walk where where you just looking at this one-way relationship with God to just give you things. It's an understanding, it's a wisdom of understanding that he gives and he corrects me. Both are essential for growth. Both, you have to have both. You have to have the rain as much as it rains and it hails and all these things that come with it. If we just had sunshine days, you wouldn't grow. Actually, you'd be scorched and you'd be burned. You wouldn't have the nutrients that the rain provides. So it's an understanding. Wisdom is an understanding that my Father gives, but he also corrects me too. He also doesn't give me everything that I want. Thank God he doesn't, because I will literally just kill myself with so much stuff that I think that I need to have. Thank God he's not that father that just want to be the good parent that takes the child on a weekend and then gives back to the mother for the rest of the time, and just want to be the good parent that gives everything. It gets to be shallow and distant. He's not that. He's a loving father that is concerned about all of your life. All of your life. He's so concerned about that. Not only he loves you more than anybody else that could ever come into your life, but he also has prepared not only our future here, but he's prepared our future even after we're gone. He's got everything planned all the way to eternity. Everything is planned. He shares some things with us, and then the rest of the things, not yet. He probably knows that we can't handle it all. So, but he's got everything. He's carefully, strategically planning our lives. So understanding that wisdom is also understanding my Father gives, and he corrects me. It's also an understanding and acceptance that you are not enough. I'm okay with that. I'm okay. It takes the pressure off of performing. I don't have to impress anybody. I said that on my job, I said that on the interview. I know that's probably not the way to get a job, that I'm not really concerned about impressing you, but I did because I had to tell Clarence that. Because it's not my wisdom. It's not about what I know. God gets me to the places where I need to be, and he gives me the understanding and everything that I need to get there. Wherever I don't need to be, he doesn't allow that to happen for me. It's not a denial. It's just that I have a path and a road that God has for me. And so wisdom gives you the understanding and acceptance to know that you are not enough. You're really not. And so there's times that in our lives we'll go and we'll start to think and start to lean on the wisdom that we have, or we start to lean on because I made the best decisions. And I could prove that. And when we start to get those things, I love how the Lord just carefully, he corrects us and beautifully corrects us so that we keep going. We understand that it's all him. He deserves all the glory. He deserves all the praise. Every bit of everything that he's given me, I thank God for, to be able to make those right decisions. Or sometimes when I don't make the right decision, that he protects me, that he takes care of me, that I'm forgiven every sin. So if I mess up tomorrow or mess up even later, he forgives me. He's already forgiven me. He's already made a path so I can be able to do the things they have to do. He had to set that all out, because if he didn't, then we'll be trying to do this all on works. We don't want that. So it takes the pressure off of performing. It takes the pressure off of impressing anyone. You don't have to do that. You are now with the Father. You are his son, his daughter. You are accepted. You are loved. Your future is pretty much written. It's done. Your future, right now, what you can do now, you can be able to openly follow whatever God has for you. We really can. We can, whatever we have, without fear, we can openly follow what he has planned for us, because it is our understanding now, because the wisdom that he's given us, that we know that we're not enough. Okay, you can read on to I like that one. Yeah, read to the 19th verse.
Blessed is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called blessed. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding, he established the heavens.
Yes, he did. I love that. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. Again, back to the 13th verse. Blessed is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. Remember, wisdom is more than knowing, is an understanding. It's not just knowledge. It's not just knowledge. Understand, and more that we understand why we're here, why the things that we have, that's something as we go. When you're learning those lessons, when you're going through things in your life, there's nothing wrong with it as the Lord, like, what am I learning from this? What am I getting from this? He knows, he understands, he wants you to understand. He wants you to find that wisdom. He wants you to open yourself up and to see what he has for us. And you get to see what's the plan that's designed for us. Those things that are for us that he shows all the way through, that he used, especially in the New Testament, all the way through the Paul's writings to each church. Those are incredible. And I also like Psalms 38. If you get a chance, read that, because Psalms 38 lets you understand that we don't have to work in pride, which is also trying to prove to somebody else or trying to do things, but it's an understanding that we have come to the end of ourselves and there's no good in me. David was at the end, done everything, felt like he's messed up everything. And he just poured his heart out on what, far as all his shortcomings, things that showing that, but he knew where to go. He knew that if the Lord doesn't save me, the Lord doesn't come in, he doesn't come in and help me, there is no saving. There's nothing else I can do now to correct this. And sometimes it might be in your life that you may be at a point that you may realize that there's no way you could correct it. There's no way you could be able to change it. Jesus is waiting for you. Jesus is there. He loves you. He is not mad at you. He designed this moment. If you're listening right now, he designed this moment for you. He is not mad at you. Don't let the devil pull you off. Feel like you're a unicorn all by yourself. Nobody's never gone through anything that what you have. There are people that have, and there are people that don't look like they've gone through anything, and they have gone through so many trials and tribulations, but God has brought them through it, and he could do the same thing for you. So there's room for you. And so the wisdom that he was talking about here, he said, blessed is the one who finds it. For the gain is better than silver, better than you get in silver, or profit more than gold. I mean, it's precious jewels. He's talking about trying to name everything. The writer, which had more than all of us had, he's telling you that it's more than anything that we can ever desire, that wisdom. So remember, it's more than knowing, it's an understanding. Also remember that you understand that God does not lie. He does not lie. Remember the understanding that God gives, he also corrects, and you need both to be able to grow. Understand that you are not enough, and it's okay. I know the world is telling us different, that the world's saying you can look deep inside and be able to find that strength to move on. But we know we are not, because it's not something that just something you can use for a temporary fix. And that's what the world gives you, something that maybe could get you through maybe a couple hours, maybe could get you through an event. But when we're talking about the Lord leading you and the Lord being able to bless your life and be able to do the things you have in your life, it's more than just an event. It's more than it may start with an event, but it lasts. It goes all the way through. Everything that what you doing even goes beyond your death. Paul, right now, we're reading the words of Paul. Paul is he's not living in Ohio nowhere. He's not in Mexico sitting there having sitting on the beach. He's gone. And his words and those disciples' words and all those people those words are still ringing true. By the grace of God, it is the scriptures that has brought us to the cross. So whatever that God has for you, whatever God has for you to do, it probably will go back past your death. You'll be helping people way past that. I mean, what good is it to live 150 years if you want to live 200 years? If God didn't lead your life. But oh, what a blessing it is for somebody, if you live 50 years, but you've given God your life to do the things that need to be done. I mean, I always remember that little girl, Rachel, that was in the Columbine shooting. She stood for Christ all the way to the end where the gun was put in her face and he killed her. Her short life has meaning. And I still hear people talk about that. And that was years ago, many years ago with Columbine. It's not the quantity. And as he shows us with the knowing and the wisdom, we get to see and understand that this goes way beyond what we can ever dream or imagine. And the things that he has for you to do, the things that he brings to your mind, the things that he puts on your heart to do those things.
Oh, bye.
If you do those things,
Bye.
bye. If you do those if you do those things, you will see that it is so important that you'll be able to do things that what God's showing you to do. And now with the platforms that we have, I mean, then when Jesus was talking to the disciples about who's your neighbor, I mean, let's go down to read. Let's get down there and go to the 23rd verse and then read to the 28th.
Okay. Then you will walk on your way securely and your foot will not stumble. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. One of my favorite verses, by the way. Do not be afraid of sudden terror or of the ruin of the wicked when it comes. For the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come again tomorrow, I will give it when you have it with you. Do not plan evil against your neighbor who dwells trustingly beside you.
Okay. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give it to you. Our neighbor, at that time, they live in communities, but even Jesus challenged them when he was always bringing in how they were to treat those people that they didn't too much care about, like the Samaritans. And so he kind of used them as the neighbor, and they were miles from them. I want to say, when I'm looking at the map, I want to say like, God, that'd be 20 some miles from them. And he used that as your neighbor. Now, can you imagine now in our time where we have the internet, we have social media platforms where we could get together, just even what we're doing right now, that could reach people on the other side of the world. There's not too many places that we can say that's just not our neighbor. It really can't. It's just ways that when you think about, like he said, we just gotta remember not to be wise in our sight, it's not what you have gained in your knowledge. Those things are great, but they make sure they always have a place. Even the things that he give you, the things that you learn and you acquire, they always have a place. It never goes above our Lord Jesus. Never goes above that. It never goes above your new identity, your new creation. It never goes above your heritage, your tradition, your nationality, your culture. Those things never go above what he's now giving you, what he's now put in place. That is wisdom. That is the knowledge and wisdom that he's talking about. When you get that, get an understanding. When he talks about doing that, because that way you understand that is more than knowing. It is an understanding. It is understanding that out of all the people that I can say that, or been through or felt like they were my enemy, there is no worse enemy than myself. None. I have treated myself worse than anything ever could come upon me. Thank you, Lord, for salvation, because it's understanding, and the wisdom, because it's understanding that I am my worst enemy. I am. There's nobody that can tear me down or build me up like Clarence. And that's an understanding where Jesus comes in, and now I don't have to worry about that no more. So what do we try to do is with Romans 12, he said renewing of your mind. Because that's where our battle becomes. It's a battle in that person within you. I like what TD Jakes say, he said that enemy in me. I like how he said, because that's it. That is where, right there, where I have the struggle, that's where will keep me from being able to understand and walk in the gospel. We don't want to walk in the spirit and don't want to walk like he told us to walk. That starts with Clarence renewing his mind. If Clarence renews his mind and continue to walk every day, do you understand that there'll be things that will not be able to knock me off path? He said in his word, when you walk in the spirit, you would not entertain the flesh. Now we have to believe it, or we have a problem with that. And if there's a problem with that, then again, it proves to show that it's inside. We have to understand that that's where the problem is that for us to understand that the wisdom, that the things that we get is for us to understand so we can continue to walk in the spirit. So we walk in the spirit, so we don't entertain anything of the flesh. We walk in so we can renew our mind. We don't walk in the flesh to do that. We walk in the spirit to do that. And we have to constantly continue to remember that. Doing like you said, reading our word and doing that and obeying that. Obeying that voice that you hear that has you to do good things. For people, doing good things. You may not understand all of it. Just do it because. Do it because. Just start with that. Start with that obedience. And just start to do things and start to do what he has for you. If you don't feel there's anything to do, praise the Lord and keep going. Keep living life. Keep doing what he asks you to do, and you will find with your walk, you will find he will open himself up. He said he would. He said he would. So I believe that everything when he said that you will walk, when you walk on your way securely, your foot will not stumble. I have to believe that. So if that doesn't happen in my life, it doesn't take anything from the word. It doesn't say that, well, maybe God didn't think about year 2023. No, it says it's with me then. So I have to realize that it's the nature that's within. but I know that it can happen because he said so. So when I lie down, I could sleep easy. I could sleep and have sweet sleep and have a great sleep and get up and go on to my day for the next day. So I wanted to see how you feel about, what did you think about wisdom and where is it happening in your life, and where did you get the understanding for you in your life about wisdom?